So you've gotten through all the phases and completed the space elevator in Satisfactory. Now what? Well, if you're like me, you go to Creative Mode. Creative Mode gives you a ton of options on how to play the game, and it's almost like having a new version of Satisfactory. Well, almost. In this video, we'll be starting a new save in Creative Mode. Let's go through some of the options available to us and how they can give you a whole new way to play. First, we go into Creative Mode, and we look at our options. We're going to select No Unlock Cost, Unlock Alternate Recipes Instantly, No Build Cost, and Flight Mode. Next, we're going to go in and select the starting tier as Unlock All Tiers, and set the game phase to Completed. We're also going to unlock all the research in the MAM and everything in the Awesome Shop. Now it's the fun part. We're going to randomize things. So we're going to have a random resource node and random node purity. Now what this does is it sets us up to have different resources at existing nodes. So where it might have been an iron node in default Satisfactory, it could be SAM, or it could be coal, or it could be bauxite. And the purity is also randomized. This makes it really a new game, and one where you really have to think about what you're going to do with the resources that are available to you, because they're not where you thought they were going to be. Now, with this kind of a game, one of the first things I like to do is look for the geothermal sources of power, geysers. And the reason I do that is because it lets me get power to all the areas I need without having to build out a whole fuel plan. So here we have one of the first areas with geysers. There's one there and another there. Geysers generally do not change location. They may change purity, however, so you don't know quite what you're going to get out of them. Also in this location are 2 iron nodes and a bauxite node. That bauxite node is going to come in handy later. All right. Let's go ahead and lay down our first geothermal generator right on this geyser. We're just going to plop it right down. And then we'll go over to the other one right over there. And boom. We've got ourselves 2 generators right off the bat. Now, down in the crater, there's usually another geyser that we can exploit. And sure enough, there it is. So we're just going to zoom on down there, and just like we did before, we're going to plop down another geothermal generator. Now we've got 3. That should give us plenty of power to get started. Now let's take a look around what we have as resources here. Usually there's 3 oil nodes in this area, but again, we randomized. So what do we have this time? Well, it's gonna be just this one node. That's it. So, let's get started. First, let's lay down a power tower. And then we're going to stretch that over and place another power tower right here next to this hydroelectric generator. Like it right there in the water. I think that looks good. All right, connect that with a power pole, and then now go back here and start extending our power line right on up to the other 2 power generators. On up the hill, and one more power tower. Great, that's all set. Now, let's go ahead and extend out some power poles. And there we go. Now we'll connect this generator here and this generator here. That also gives us power poles for our miners later. And let's take a look here. Yeah, right now we're generating between 1,200 and 1,300 megawatts. That's plenty of power to get started. The next thing I like to do is to set up my blueprint designer. Let me get this blue power slug out of the way. And then we're just going to put the designer up here. And there we go. We've got that. We picked the designer, and it's not big enough to put the designer. Okay. No problem. We'll just have to zoop out some platforms the old-fashioned way. So here we go with the foundations. We're going to make a 7x7 platform here, 2 meters deep. And that is going to give us plenty of space to put our blueprint designer. So there we go, it's all zooped up. Now let's put the blueprint designer in place. Bang, it's in place. Awesome. Now, what we're going to do is create a series of platforms to help us build our factory floors later. I like to build first a single 1x6 platform, 2 meters deep. Then a 2x6 platform, 2 meters deep. And finally, a 6x6 platform, 2 meters deep. What these do is give us, in combination, almost any size of platform between 1 and 6. For example, we have the 1x6, we have the 2x6. If you want a 3x6, just add a 1x6 to a 2x6. A 4x6 is 2 2x, and so on. So that's how we start with our platforms. We save those as blueprints. Now we're going to find out how we're going to turn this one little resource node of oil into a significant amount of power. Now see, this node here is good enough for us to get 240 oil per minute out of it. And what's our game plan? Well, we're going to turn this one node of oil into 44,000 kilowatts plus. Or sorry, megawatts plus. So you've got 240 crude oil equals 533 ionized fuel, which will power 178 fuel generators at 250 megawatts, giving us 44,444 megawatts. We've got the crude oil, that's on our list. Iron ore, well, there's plenty of iron ore around here. We only need about 27 per minute. So I had already put down one miner for iron, and it's right over here. Bingo. That's going to give us plenty of iron for what we need for our recipes. So let's go look at what the next thing is. Sulfur. 160 a minute for sulfur. That's usually pretty doable, and if I remember right, there was a sulfur node somewhere over here next to the generators. And there it is. So boom, we're going to plunk out another miner here. Once we've got that set, bam, just like that. There we go. And now we're going to go ahead and turn that green on our list so we can see that's completed. So what's next? Well, next on the list is raw quartz. And we need a lot of it. Almost 1,400 per minute. That is not going to happen from one node. So I'm going to use a building that I think a lot of players forget about or just don't realize the usefulness of it. But it really comes in handy with these randomized games. So I'm going to stretch a power line all the way up to the top of this peak over here. And we are going to use a radar tower. Now, what does a radar tower get you? Well, a radar tower scans the area. It'll show you what, animals, flora and fauna are nearby, but it also shows you what resources are nearby. So you just run some power up there. I like to put them on the highest peaks. I don't know that it actually makes a difference, but it's a mental thing for me. So we get the power in place. Then we scroll down here, look for the radar tower, look for a good spot for it up here on this peak. Not liking those. I don't have no obelisks yet, so I haven't gotten rid of the fart rocks. And let's see, how about right there. Okay, now let's apply it some power. Awesome. Now what we want to look for is on the map. Let's see if we find any quartz. Got to zoom in a little bit here. A little bit more, and it's not looking good. There's one quartz on there, which is a node I'd already found and put a miner on. But that's not going to get us 1,400 a minute. No, not there. You can see the extent to which the radar tower can capture the information. It's that amber circle that goes around the radar tower, and you see the pulses going out from the radar tower to it. That's the extent of where you're going to go. And from what I can see, in our extent, we've got no more quartz. So we're going to have to keep looking. But that's pretty easy. All we got to do is place more radar towers. Now what I've found is the best distance between radar towers is actually measured by the power towers. You click one down, click a second one down, and you do these at the extent that the wire will extend. Put the third one down and you're just about at a new radar tower location. So we plunk that down, and now you see it overlaps the old one, which is perfect. That lets us see, make sure that we don't miss anything in between. There's no quartz there, so another 1 and 2 and 3. Now we'll plunk another radar tower down. And wire it up and take a look, and there's still no quartz. All right, 1, 2, and 3. Hit another radar tower. There we go. It's there. Wire it up. Oops, missed. Hang on. All right, there we go. And there's no quartz here. That's a problem because we need a lot of it. But we have a solution for that, and that is that SAM can create quartz through a converter. So we need to find SAM. We only needed 40 to start with, and we got lucky because there's 2 SAM nodes right behind the oil node. So all we're going to do is plunk down a couple of miners here. This is going to give us plenty of SAM and should be more than enough to create the quartz that we need. So we're going to plunk those down, and once that's set, we're going to take a look at what's left on the list. So let's take a look at what we still need. We still need coal, but that's a pretty easy to find resource. Water, we've got access to it, no problem. Nitrogen gas, 213 a minute is not anywhere close to being difficult to find. An excited photonic matter is created through a converter with no inputs. So all we got to do is plunk one down and we can get that out of it. We'll probably have to use 1 or 2 and definitely going to have to boost them up. So with all that, we're in the process for getting our power up. It's a good start, but what comes next is that we need to build the infrastructure and the factory base. And we need to think about how we're going to lay out the factory. So in our next video, we're going to start building blueprints. Some of them will be for these platforms and for the supports and our first water production facility. And then we move forward. If you enjoyed this video, please think about giving us a like and a subscribe. If you want to see the next one, make sure you click that bell to be notified. And get ready for the next one, Dawn of the Machines.